All right, in this activity, we're going to be using these points on the graph. We're going to plot them, and after we plot them, we're then going to find the slope, counting rise over run. And just remember, when it says rise, we're talking about how far we move up or down. And keep in mind that if we move down, it's going to be a negative slope, and if we move up, it's going to be a positive slope. While run means how far we move left or right. So to go ahead and plot these 2 points, one thing I want you to remember is that the first value is our x value. And our x-axis is the one that runs left to right. So I'm going to highlight it because that's going to tell us the location to start with, because we always go to the x value first. Then what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and find the location of the y value on each of these, which is going to be the yellow one, which is our axis that runs vertical up and down. So just keep that in mind as we go through so that you understand exactly how I'm finding the location for each one of these. That's my x value, and the second number that's in yellow is my y. This is my y-axis, this is my x-axis. For instance, this one says 0 and then 2 for the y value. So 0 means that we're right here in the middle on the x-axis, and then positive 2 for the y value means that from there we go up 1, 2. And we put a point right there. That is 0, 2. And I'm going to label it 0, 2. Now we're going to plot the second ordered pair. It's going to be 4, 3. So from origin, I'm going to move over to the right 4 times because that's a positive 4. Keep in mind that when you move to the right from origin, those values are positive on the x-axis, and from origin to the left, they're negative. And when we're dealing with the y-axis, anything above origin is a positive value for y. Anything below origin going down is a negative value for y. So if I want to plot 4, 3, I'm going to start from origin and go to the right 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's positive 4. And then the y value is 3, which means I go up 3 times. 1, 2, 3. There's my second point. If I wrote the ordered pair for this, it would be 4, 3. So now that I got those 2 things done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to graph a line. Now the easiest way I found to graph it is put your pen on one of the points really nice and clear, and then go over and turn your ruler until it lines up with that second one. I'm going to graph it real quick, and I'm going to use this line and these 2 points to help me count what we call rise over run. Now the rise is our up and down movement, and what I want to know is I want to know how far do I have to move from this initial point right here, my lowest point. How far do I got to move up to be in line with the second point? And notice here, I'm going to draw kind of like a little curly Q. I got to move up 1 unit. So I'm going to put a 1 right there. So my rise for this problem is equal to positive 1. Because I went up. Now if I would have had to go down to line up with it, I would have put negative 1. But since I went up, it's positive. Then from this point right here, on this bolded line, right, we went up 1 unit. I want to see how many times do I have to go to the right to get to the second point. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So we went over 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to circle that 4. So we had to move over 4 times to get to that next point. So my run, which is how far I go left or right, was positive 4. So I moved up once and to the right 4. So this slope is 1 over 4. And that is equal to m, which is the letter that we use to represent slope. And that's all there is to it. We plotted the points, and then we found the slope. So I'm going to do one more problem, and then you'll do the rest on your own. So now I'm going to do number 6. Number 6 has multiple negative values. So let's go ahead and try one of those to get you an example that has some negative values in it. So on number 6, I'm going to go ahead and highlight my x values. And remember, those values will be found on the x-axis that runs horizontal, left to right. And then I'm going to highlight my y values. And those values, location, will be found on the y-axis that runs up and down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we'll find our first ordered pair. That's my x value, and that's my y value. And keep in mind, this is my y-axis, and this is my x-axis. So I'm going to start by finding 0. So 0 on the x-axis is right here where the 2 bolded axes cross. And then I have negative 3 for the y value. So in that case, I'm going to go down 3 times from origin. 1, 2, 3. Put a point right there, and that point is 0, negative 3. Now we're going to do the next one. My x value is positive 3, and my y value is negative 1. So I'm going to go to origin, and to find the positive value of 3 on the x-axis, I just move to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And to find the value of negative 1 on the y-axis, I go down 1. In other words, it lines up with positive 3 on the x and negative 1 on the y. And I'm going to label that point 3, negative 1. Now I'm going to go ahead, you don't really have to draw the line. You could go ahead and just count the distance between the points, but I'm going to draw the line because it just helps me count better, I feel like. So I'm going to put a line on there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I want to count my rise over run. So m is equal to my rise, right? How far I move up or down from one point to the other, over my run. How far I move to the right to get to that next point. So for my rise, it looks like to line up with this point right here, and I'm going to put my pin on it. To line up with that point, I'm going to have to go up, looks like 1, 2. So it looked like I had to move up 2 units. So I'm going to put a 2 there. That's where I stopped. I counted up 2 until it lined up with this point. So my rise is going to be positive 2. Now if I would have had to go down 2 to get to it, it would have been negative 2. But because I moved up to get to the point, to get lined up, it's positive. And then from that 0 value, I have to move over to the right. 1, 2, 3. So I had to move over 3 times to the right to get to the next point. So my run is 3. So in this case, my slope in rise over run is 2 over 3. And I've plotted the points. And that's all you're doing on this activity. Go ahead and continue to finish the rest on your own.